Please welcome Sir William Deane.
At the outset, I join in acknowledging the traditional custodians on whose ancestral land we're privileged to be. I must say, as I listened to Jenny, I thought I'd give her some advice before she left. That is, my observation of politics has been that you never one up your Prime Minister. But I noticed she was ahead of me as we heard the fulsome praise of the Prime Minister's ability to speak Mandarin. The second thing I should mention is that we are greatly privileged, of course, to have the President of Rotary International, D.K. Lee, here in Australia with us. I must confess, though, I hope his English isn't quite as good as it seems to be, and that I notice that the program says of him, R.I.P. Perhaps. On the other hand, it does have the decency to put the R.I.P. before rather than after. But perhaps we should be investigating a better way of referring to the President of International Rotary. These days, as Helen and I seek to retreat from public life, I try to confine any speaking commitments to those relating to the charitable organisations in which I'm directly involved. Inevitably, however, there are a few exceptions to that general rule. This is one of them. The explanation lies partly in the fact that, as some of you may know, young Len Goodwin can be very persuasive, simply because he so ardently believes in the things that matter to him, such as Rotary. But the explanation also lies partly in the fact that Rotary also matters to me. And I have no doubt that the series of presidential membership conferences, of which this is the second, will prove to be of real significance, not only to Rotary, but to all the causes and communities, including the international community, which Rotary serves. It would be presumptuous of me to seek to tell you, who are also directly involved in Rotary, where you should be leading the organisation and your own clubs in the years ahead. On the other hand, responsible plans for the future must be squarely based not only upon what exists in the present, but upon the story, the achievements, and the inspiration of the past. For the past defines Rotary. It underlies both its public image and its essential identity. It's in that context, as an invited voice from the past, as it were, that I hope that I may be of a little assistance to you this afternoon. For I suspect that my own personal association with Rotary goes back further than that of almost anyone else here. It began some 55 years ago, as has been mentioned, in 1953, when, sponsored by the Sydney Club, I was awarded one of the early Rotary Foundation fellowships, in my case to study international law at Trinity in Dublin and the Hague Academy of International Law. Subsequently, I became a member of the Sydney Club, of which, notwithstanding the fact that it's many years since I lived in that city, I'm currently an honorary member. At least as significant, however, has been my association with Rotary during and since the years when I was Governor-General, through contact with and often involvement in many Rotary programs and initiatives, and through my awareness on countless occasions of a Rotary club or a Rotarian in the forefront or somewhere in the background of programs or other initiatives to help the most vulnerable and disadvantaged in our community. Every one of those contacts and occasions has played a part in moulding the essential personal perspective which I will share with you. I could, if there were time, offer 100 examples. Let me diverge to give what is, for me, a particularly personal and important one. A large framed montage hangs prominently on the wall opposite the desk in my office here in Canberra. It contains 2 photos of a little girl. One photo shows a grotesque parody of childhood with a hideous protrusion of scarred flesh where the right eye should be, and with something that looks like an eye on the side of the head to the right of that protrusion. The other photo is of a smiling and happy little girl. They are before and after photos of Kim Deane, who was brought to Australia from Vietnam by ROMAC, which, as you know, is a Rotary program born in Bendigo, which enables the benefits of transforming surgery to be made available to young people from Southeast Asia and South Pacific countries. On each side of the before and after photos are before and after drawings by little Kim herself. The contrast between those drawings is, for me, even more inspiring than the actual photos. And Kim is but one of over 300 children whose lives have been transformed by but one Australasian Rotary program. She just happens to be one of those who have directly touched me personally, particularly in the context of Polio Plus. The total numbers of children whose lives have been directly or indirectly saved or transformed as a result of the work and initiative of Rotary and Rotarians would, if it were possible for accurate calculation, be measured in millions rather than hundreds. In truth, of course, it's inevitable that even informed individual perspectives of Rotary will differ from person to person and even Rotarian to Rotarian. As you might guess from what I've already said, my own perspective is greatly influenced by my profound admiration for all that Rotary has done for disadvantaged and vulnerable children over all the years since the fledgling Chicago Club's first tentative program helping disadvantaged boys.